2K crew, what is up? What's up? What's up? You probably don't know if you're listening on the podcast, but if you're watching on the YouTubes, we have a new little perspective here. Just one of many changes that are going to be going through the studio, so keep an eye on that because we're bringing you some kick-ass content every fucking week. Why? Because that's what we do. And for those of you on YouTube, you can see we do have a guest in. He's not really a guest anymore.
Can you even call me a guest anymore?
Yeah.
Nah.
He's pretty much like
I'm like Brandon Schaub on Joe Rogan's podcast.
There you go. Yeah. You're a regular. Let's put it that way. But we do have Mr. Christian Hutson in the studio today. You might be asking yourself why, and I'm going to let 2Ks take the reins here because this was his idea, his brainchild.
We talked about it a little bit last week, too.
Yeah.
So anybody that listened to last week's knows that we're doing an all-time NBA draft. And how we're going to do this is we're going to cut cards here in just a second to determine our order. And then it's going to be like a snake draft. So if you have the first pick, you'll have the first pick, and then you won't pick again until, what would it be, 6?
Second round, third.
So, and if you have the third pick, then you have the third pick and the fourth pick.
Yep.
So... And the way we do this, you have to pick a starting 5. So you can't have 5 point guards on your team or 5 centers. You have to have 5, position players. There are, guys that you can play at a 2 guard, and you can also play at a 3, and you can do that with power forwards and a center also. And then you also have to draft a coach for this team.
But you have when you draft the player, you have to declare them what position.
You're going to play them in. Yep. And you can't go back and change that later in the rounds. When you make that pick, you have to put that position on them then.
I like it. And we all know that you're addicted to drafts, so this works out really well.
And then after we get our team, we're going to post it on to our Facebook page, and we'll have people vote on it on who they think is the best team. Now, how they want to vote, if they want to vote for who has the 5 best players, or if they want to vote for who has the team that's going to work the best together, that's up to them to decide. So
it's their vote, their voice, right?
Yep.
These cards are old as shit. All right. While we're getting everything set up here, we are recording on Sunday. We're watching the Lamar Jacksons against the Josh Allens, and been a pretty decently. Obviously, with these two defenses, you're not going to get a blowout on either side, but definitely the wind is playing a factor, especially on Buffalo's side. Their offense has really been kind of stalled because of some of the conditions there, and New Orleans is beating up on San Francisco right now. Drew Brees has 2 passing touchdowns, I think, and now he just ran one in. And probably the shocker right now is Cincinnati's beating Cleveland 14-0.
Not that shocking to me. For one, Cincinnati went back to Andy Dalton as their quarterback today. And 2, Cleveland they've been the biggest letdown, I think. Well, really probably could say the Cowboys are right there with them.
Yep.
But Cleveland has been probably about the biggest letdown. After the offseason they had, there was so much excitement around that team. And let's be honest, Cleveland's never been shit and still aren't shit.
No, and... I guess it came out either yesterday or today that OBJ's down with hernia. They're trying to decide whether he needs surgery or not. So he's probably out for the remainder of the year.
You say OBJ? Yeah. He's playing today.
Is he?
Yep.
Yeah, but he also made comments this week, I see, that made headlines that he might not be back next season. And it's just...
Shut the fuck up and play.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up and play. And they came into this season with probably the biggest hype train, probably even over the Raiders, even though the Raiders were, on Hard Knocks and had the Antonio Brown show over there for a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm just waiting, I guess, and I'm sure like a lot of the Browns fans is when are they going to fucking show up and when are they going to be consistent? And they haven't done either all year. So. All right, well, I think we got everything here situated. So is someone going to take down the draft order?
Yeah,
all right.
I'll do it.
Well, since you are the regular or the guest, Mr. Hudson, go ahead and now, are we doing ace high or low?
High.
Ace is high. Okay. There's no confusion.
Bam!
So
Ace
he
is
doesn't
low,
necessarily
right?
get the first pick. He gets to pick his spot.
Okay.
He's the winner. So obviously, I mean, unless somebody else, one of us other guys draws out an ace, there's an ace. So we have 2 aces.
Damn it!
Now, if the third one's drawn, I'm gonna. So I shuffled those. 10. 10.
10.
Fucking 10.
Give it a 10.
So I guess you guys pick again.
I'll go first this time. Eater. 3.
Damn it.
Turbs, you got first decision on where you want to pick.
I'm gonna go number 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna
And
go
then
number 1.
you'll have the second decision.
2.
Okay, I'll go 3.
All right. I know this is thrilling to our audience, but you know what? We keep shit legit. All right. We ready for this?
Yep.
With the first pick in the 2019 All NBA Draft, Turbo selects Shaquille O'Neal.
Ooh.
Shake up.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq Diesel, number 1.
Yep. Number 1 in your hearts, number 1 on my team. And the reason I went that is and obviously he's my 5. I'm not going to put him as my point guard. But when it comes to big men and dynamic players that can alter a game and take over a game, it doesn't get any better as a big man than Shaq. And there's actually so few of them. Well, there really isn't I would say a center anymore in the NBA. So if we're looking at 5 there's more of a select few, in my opinion, for the 5 spot.
Right, come on, give me the short version.
that I had to go Shaq. So
Well, you talk about, I mean, maybe the biggest mismatch of all time. I mean, he's pretty much unguardable, as big as he is.
Yep.
Solid pick.
All right. Number 2.
Michael Jordan. Simple as
MJ.
that, yeah.
Putting him in your shooting guard spot?
Yep. The GOAT.
That was. So far, you can't go wrong with any picks right now.
I mean, yeah, Michael's pretty much, the number 1. Probably most people would take him number 1 overall. I was kind of back and forth on a couple different guys, but I'm gonna go maybe a little bit shocking here. I'm gonna play him as my point guard, but you can play him at probably 4 different positions, and that's what I like about him. And he could guard probably all 5 positions.
Draymond Green.
Same college.
Ah.
But I'm gonna go Magic Johnson.
Ah, I see. Not a bad pick. All right, Mr. Hudson.
No, me
No,
again.
Oh, you again. That's right.
And then I'm gonna come. I mean, I was talking about this when we were talking about it at the bar a couple weeks ago about my dream, first 2,
And
now I'm almost scared to do it.
It's in your lap. It is in your lap to work your plan and plan your work.
But I'm gonna change it up.
Oh,
I'm gonna change it up, and I'm gonna go to me, who I think is the best player of all time, and I'm gonna go LBJ, LeBron, and I'm gonna play him at my small forward.
Ah, right. Digging that. I had a feeling LeBron wouldn't last too long. So now it's Mr. Hudson's turn. Where are we going next, C-Hut?
I'm going to play him. Man. That really shook me up right there. I didn't think you would go that way.
Where'd you think I was going?
I don't know. I did not think you were going there. I'm going to take Kevin Durant. It's my number 3. We're playing him at my 3.
Kevin Durant. Not a bad pick either. Not a bad pick. Excuse me. Well, with my second round pick here, I am going to go Kobe is my shooting guard.
Kobe, Shaq, and Kobe together, eh?
Mm-hmm.
It's a disaster.
And I'm going to back that up with the point guard Steph Curry.
Oh. It actually is kind of shocking to me how many like modern day players are off the board so far.
Yeah, when I was doing my research, it was kind of, now granted, when you look at anyone's top 20 or top 50 list, there's always going to be that dude on there and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Shane Battier is not an all-time great number 3. Are you kidding me? And I that was legitimately on one of the sites I looked at, but it was astonishing to see that when you with all the players that have gone through the NBA, you would think like especially some of the greats that have gone down, you'd see a lot more like black and white photos, and almost all of them were from the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, then especially for our age demographic, that fits right with us. And I don't know if that has a lot to do with, obviously it's stats driven, a lot of it, and with the rule changes and the 3-point line and a lot of other stuff that come into play, obviously scoring's up right now as opposed to when it was in like 1970 or 1960. So maybe that's one of the reasons why. But yeah, you're very right, and even our little draft here is playing out pretty much exactly like all the websites did too. So,
my third pick, I'm gonna really stick defensive kind of thing. And now that I think about it, Shaquille O'Neal said this is the guy he had the most trouble with in the post. Hakeem Olajuwon.
If I didn't get Shaq, I was gonna go.
Yeah, I had two guys, and he was one of them. And the guy that I'm gonna pick next was the other guy. Olajuwon defensively, probably maybe the best defensive center of all time, and then also could do it offensively too. But I'm gonna go with my pick at probably the best offensive center of all time,
Kareem,
leading scorer of all time, and I also am gonna have the guy on my team that's probably potentially gonna pass him in the future at LeBron. But right now, as leading scorer, I'm going Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I'm playing him as my center.
Not a bad pick.
Man,
San Francisco's creeping back into this game.
Thinking about all this today, I was like, man, if I get like one of these players that I got on my team, I think I'll be lucky. And I got 3 of them.
Well, shucks.
I feel the same way.
So, and then I'm gonna come back with. I feel like I got 3 big time scorers. Do I want to go? Man,
you going Bruce Bowen for defense? We all joke about that, but he's probably one of the best defenders in the past 10, 15 years.
I feel like I got my facilitator in Magic. LeBron can score. Kareem will score, obviously. Do I want to have another big-time scoring power forward? Do I want to go with a shooting guard that can shoot?
Christian, you look really thrilled.
I'm going. I guess I'm gonna have to ask if I can do this. I'm gonna have to ask you guys if I can do this.
No.
Can I play Bird as a power forward?
I was gonna ask the same thing.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I was
gonna say can I play Bird or Durant at the 4?
Yeah. I'm going as long as you guys say it's good. I'm going Bird as a 4.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. It's not like you're putting Steph Curry to 4 or something stupid like that. Wow. Denver's up 24-3 on Houston.
So where it sits right now, I probably should have said this before I made the Bird pick because it would have been the end of the round. But right now, Turbo, you have Steph Curry as your point guard, Kobe as your shooting guard, and Shaq as your center.
That's a fucking W right there, bro.
Christian has
solid.
MJ, as his point guard.
No,
KD,
shooting guard.
Or as a shooting guard. KD as his small forward. And Olajuwon as a center. And then I have Magic as my point guard. LeBron as my 3. Larry Bird as my 4. And Kareem as my center. So and nobody's taken a coach yet.
Why would you?
Did you get both yours 2Ks?
Yep.
What's on Mr. Hutson?
So since he was able to do Larry at the 3-4, I'm gonna go back to where I can use this guy as a 3-4, and you can really use Durant as a 3-4. He's a 7-footer too. Mm-hmm. I'll take Scottie Pippen, use him as my 3-4 kind of guy.
Okay, I'm good with that.
As I'm kind of leaning on my power forward. Can we do Tim Duncan as a power forward?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do that. Mr. Fundamental. Mr. Funda-fucking-mental. And so what, I have small forward left? I'm going to switch it up. I'm going coach, and I'm going to take Phil.
Going to coach, taking Phil Jackson.
Well, I got Kobe. I got Shaq. Might as well take Phil, right?
Okay. I'm going to go point guard that could flat out probably the best on-ball defender in the history of the NBA. Gary Payton.
The glove.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck scoring, guys.
Yeah, you definitely went defense on this.
I mean, none of those guys can also give you buckets, though, too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I need a shooting guard or a coach. Or I'm going to pick both of them right here. Shooting guard. Do I want to go with a sniper, or do I want to go with somebody that, arguably one of the better 1-2 combos in the history of the game? When you start talking about LeBron and D-Wade, do I want to bring D-Wade back into this to be my shooting guard, or do I want to go with an actual shooter?
Shooter McGavin. Shooter. Shooter.
You know what? I'm going to kind of go with a player that I don't necessarily consider him to be in the top 30 of players all time, but I'm going to go with a player that to me is going to mix in with the guys that I have, and I want to have, as much as I really want to go D-Wade here because he is one of my favorites of all time, and to put him back in there with LeBron, I want to surround these guys with a sniper, and I'm going to go with one of the more clutch shooters of all time. I'm going Reggie Miller.
I think he's definitely top 50.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And then the coach.
That's a good pickup.
To coach this team, I'm going with a guy that's actually still coaching today.
Popovich.
I'm going with Greg Popovich.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick.
All right. So what do I got? Coach?
You got to get a coach.
So I was debating this. I had two guys, because I know those two would be gone before, those
are going to be the top two.
Two guys that are also great coaches. I was thinking it is either Pat Riley or Chuck Daly.
I was wondering if someone's going to go Chuck Daly.
And I think with the team I have, Chuck Daly came up with one of the best defenses ever against the Chicago Bulls. So that's why I'm going to go with Chuck Daly.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick.
Sure. Jordan rules.
Jordan rules, absolutely. So I'm just left with a small forward, right?
Yep. To round off, put a capper on the old all-time NBA draft.
I'm gonna go a little wild card on you guys. I'm gonna go Giannis.
Oh, okay.
I'll go Giannis.
I'm not even gonna try to spell that. I'm just gonna put Greek.
Giannis. Antetokounmpo.
Yep.
TEMP.
Can you use it in a sentence?
QUMPO.
Country of origin, please. Country of origin. All right, Cleveland's actually back up on top of Cincinnati, 14-13. So yeah, I was kind of that. The small forward was kind of didn't really know where to go with it.
Well, there's so many of them out there, to where we picked ours early, so you had a reason to wait on it, and but you can go so many different ways with it. You want me to read off the teams, and we can kind of talk about some players that didn't get drafted?
Give us a recap there, 2Ks.
So
I'll go with 2 bench guys.
This actually went a lot faster than I thought it was going to go. But right now, we'll start with reading off the teams, then we'll kind of decide what we want to do after that. So Turbo's team, Turbo had the first pick. His team he's got Steph Curry as his point guard, Kobe as his shooting guard, the Freak as his small forward, Tim Duncan as his power forward, and Shaq as his center.
There's not enough ball to go around for your team.
And then he's got, you talk about some freaking scoring. They're going to throw up 200 points every
Yeah, but who's going to take them all? Which one's going to have an ego problem here?
Kobe.
And then that team is coached by Phil Jackson, so they'll be running their triangle offense.
Yeah.
And then
come on, would you rather have the Freak or Scottie Pippen help run that? I think the Freak could run it a lot better than Scottie.
Oh.
Yeah,
Scottie can stretch it a little bit. Greek's not there yet.
Yeah,
he'll get there.
Yeah, and the thing with Greek is, what is he, 24?
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't even touched the surface.
Nope.
Kawhi would have been a good. I was thinking about Kawhi too.
Mm-hmm. And then Christian's team, we had the second pick. He went Gary Payton as his point guard, MJ as his shooting guard, Kevin Durant small forward, Scottie Pippen at his power forward, and Hakeem Olajuwon as a center, coached by Chuck Daly. And then Kyle, 2Ks went. He had the third pick. He went Magic as his point guard, Reggie Miller as a shooting guard, LeBron as his small forward, Larry Bird as his power forward, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as a center, coached by Popovich.
How many current players did we draft?
Current players, we got Steph, KD, Giannis, LeBron,
4, and then 5.
And then Popovich is the coach.
That's not too. I mean, I think that's pretty legit. And there's probably only 1 or 2 that didn't play in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
but I guess we can talk about some players that didn't get picked. One of them that really shocks me, Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah. Well, I almost went him. Second pick. Yeah.
100 points, 50 boards in a game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like it's so watered down when he. I don't know.
Just because of the competition that he played.
Same with Bill Russell. Extremely watered down. I don't know.
I wrote down. So Wilt Chamberlain's career stats: he averaged 30.1 points a game and 22.9 rebounds a game. Yeah. I think the next best
Then again, he was the only player that was that
7
tall.
foot.
Yeah.
The rest are 6'5" guys.
Yeah.
Kareem averaged 11 rebounds a game. Shaq 10. That's pretty much all the top centers that you start talking about. They're all right in that 10 to 12 range, and then you see Will with 20 some is Jesus.
Well, it's kind of like Christian playing 1-on-1 with Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, he had no chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what Wilt did to everybody else, and that was.
Just like you playing 1-on-1 Frank fantasy football.
Another big time name that didn't get taken. Maybe the best scoring power forward of all time, the mailman, Karl Malone.
Yeah.
I had a couple on here too.
I almost went with him. I was thinking about him and John Stockton and Steve Nash was another guy that.
Yep.
Dr. J.
Isaiah Thomas. Yeah.
Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Dr. J is a tough one. If you look at his numbers, they're very comparable, but it's tough to pick him as a small forward with all the small.
Clyde Drexler's in there too.
Yes,
2-3.
Yeah, and you look at. That's obviously the deepest position there is. That 2-3 more that that 3. So trying to pick Dr. J. The one thing about him is he wasn't much of a shooter. He was more of a slasher, get to the hole. great in the dunk contest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
I also was, when I was listing, I have more point guards listed, I think, than anything else.
mm-hmm.
And one of them that kind of shocked me, that kind of flew off the page, because I really don't think I think in his time, he was amazing.
Pistol Pete?
No, I'm leaving it more towards Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's. I think you classify him more as a shooting guard, even though he's not your the standard height for it or whatever. But
Right.
I mean, still, yeah.
The one thing that always pops out to me when I talk about Iverson is he had no supporting cast.
None.
Like none.
None.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why he never won a ring.
Tell me,
Yeah.
Aaron McKee was any good?
Eric Snow.
Yeah.
Mutombo, he had Mutombo.
Yeah.
At the end,
Yeah.
Mutombo would have been a good one to pick for defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And we already touched on Isaiah. And
Nobody picked Dirk. Maybe the
No.
greatest shooting 7-footer of all
Yeah.
time.
Obviously, as it stands right now,
He's never a very good defender though either.
No.
And if we did a draft of the ugliest men in the history of the NBA, he'd be like 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But you think about, like...
Kurt Rambis would be on there.
Yeah. The one thing you think about with Dirk, though, he only had one ring, but what he went through that in that offseason alone to win that ring,
Mm-hmm.
going through Kobe and the Lakers, going through LeBron and that Heat team. I mean, that was probably one of the better playoff runs of all time to win a championship.
I'm sure playing for Mark Cuban can either be absolutely amazing or one of the biggest pains in the ass.
I love Mark Cuban.
I do too, but if you're, I could see with his personality wanting, especially back in that playoff run and around that era. I mean, he was down on the floor. Of course, if I had that big of an investment in something like that, I'd be enjoying the shit out of it too.
Mm-hmm.
But over the years, you see how he pushes people the wrong way or rubs them the wrong way. So, I mean, obviously it's worked out. I mean, I don't think I've ever recalled a player saying that they hated Mark, playing for Mark Cuban. So like I said, it's got to be a really good work atmosphere or one that you just would stay away from because you want someone that just kind of, I don't know, is more hands off, I guess.
Mm. Another big time name that wasn't drafted, and he probably is forgotten about a little bit, because he's more of a player from the 60s, 70s, Oscar Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a time, I was looking at stats this morning, and like a 4-year stretch where he was almost averaging a triple-double.
Yep. It was, it's probably not going to happen this year with Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's who he's been compared to the last 3 or 4 years because he's done that. So, and then you even look at the logo, Jerry West. I personally really don't think Jerry West was all that great, but then again, I didn't get to see, probably any of his games, and the one that and I think Christian mentioned it was Pistol Pete.
Yep.
And he's more known for his handles, his ball, dribbling skills, but he was actually a really good shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Same for Steve Nash too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then even back then there was no 3-point line, so yet again you have to look at how the scoring would be different back then if there was, and even kind of nowadays what the scoring would have been like back then had they been allowed to play zone defense and shit like that. So it is what it is. It's the same way in every sport though. When you're trying to compare generations, oh my God, how would Kobe and Jordan when they locked up in their primes, what would happen?
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck knows? Because it'll never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you looking at like more recent players, both these guys are retired, but at power forward position, Tim Duncan. Don't get me wrong. Maybe one of the best power forwards of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Played for really really good teams. Another power forward at the same time, Kevin Garnett.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't get as much credit, I don't think, because he didn't play on as good of teams until he got to Boston.
Yeah.
And they teamed up there and won one. But
Charles Barkley too.
yes.
Mm-hmm. And
I almost went Barkley.
Mm-hmm. I considered him another big center that wasn't picked. Centers are tough. I mean, obviously when Wilt Chamberlain's not picked, you know that that center's a tough position to pick, but Moses Malone,
Mm-hmm.
you look at his numbers over the years. He was another one that could have been considered right there. But so, what do you guys think? I mean, who has the best team?
Obviously, me.
I was thinking me.
I mean, night in, night out, my team's going to flat out get after you defensively. Can you handle that in a 7-game series?
Yeah, and you know what they say, defense travels. So you can always have an
Well, it's not like I don't have scores, though, either.
right.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. Those are three. It's hard. It's really hard to decide, especially, how we can determine what era we play in, things like that.
Yeah, because if Jordan played in these rules, he'd be dropping 40, 50 a game on just on regular.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before he had to do something very extraordinary to hit 50 and 60 points. But all these ticky-tack, you can't touch players, and oh my God, he would destroy folks. And I'm sure there's a lot of folks on those lists that would do the same thing. So scoring is obviously, like I touched on, up because of the rules, and obviously with the addition of the 3-point line.
One thing about your team, Turbo, you have 4 guys that played inside the perimeter most of the time.
I'm not worried about it.
I mean, Kobe did a lot of his work in the short corner.
Well, Steph can shoot from the parking lot, so.
Yeah. Other than that, you got 4 guys posted on the block.
Come at me, bro. Guard all my guys posting up. I'm fine with that.
Easy. It's only about 5 feet apart. I don't know. It's hard.
It is, and then when
it's gonna depend on like what kind of basketball you like, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be curious to see like when people vote on it, if they vote for what team's going to work the best together, or for what team has the biggest names on it.
Yeah, or just kind of like you guys pointed to, like which team would theoretically score the most points. So, guys, if you do vote, give us kind of a reason why. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the fun part, not just I don't want to get on the post and be turbo. Tell me why. Tell me
nobody's gonna pick your team.
Tell me why I'm so great. Tell me, because that's the fun part about it, because that's when you can debate stuff, and that's when you can get everybody going that way instead of just one-word answers. All right, gentlemen, let the games begin. Let's I'll post either me or Kyle will post this on the group, and let's see where it goes. Mm-hmm. Let's see where it goes. Well, you guys ready for some paycheck and onions?
Sounds good.
Paycheck and motherfucking onions. And hopefully no one took the Texans over the Broncos last week, because Broncos are kicking the shit out of. And
that's what I don't get about the Texans. They're either really good or really bad.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Because
I will.
2 weeks that they were really bad were the weeks that I played fucking Frank. And Deshaun Watson gets like 18 points, which is awesome. Okay.
I can't believe that you lost to him twice.
Yeah, me
twice.
Hey, I don't think
he's got something though. He knows what kickers are good in the clutch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like we talked about, I now know how Joe Park feels.
Well, he had so many kicking issues with his Bears last year that he studied kicking all offseason.
Well, he saw it as a priority, and then
Pinheiro hasn't been that great this year either for the Bears.
Mm-mm. I'll tell you who's a shitty kicker, the Dallas Cowboys kicker. I don't even know his fucking name.
How the hell they get rid of Dan Bailey?
Jesus Christ.
Dan Bailey's about automatic as is.
And since they got rid of him, I think 3 years ago, it's been shit for 3 years.
A revolving door.
Yeah, I was going to say a rotisserie, but that was the wrong word. Well, where are you at points-wise, 2Ks?
Oh, man, I'm going to look. I know I didn't have a very good week last week.
Well, I had a horrible week, so I lost my first paycheck game, which means that I lose 3 points. So the 3 points I lost on that, and I gained 3 points from my other pick, so I'm staying steady at 45 points.
I was at 46, And then going back, I had 47, 48. 48 is where I'm at.
48. All right. Commanding 3-point lead. Commanding. So since you're in the lead, how about you start us off with one of your pick'ems?
First pick, I'm going with the Army-Navy battle. And I don't really know much about either team. I know the Army pretty much took Michigan down to the final.
Yep.
They actually went to overtime. Michigan was able to pull it off. But I'm going to pick Navy. I'm going Navy over Army.
And we kind of touched on this while we were show prepping, and it's odd to see, especially this day and age, a Navy quarterback that throws a lot. Well, a lot for them.
Yeah. 10 times.
Yeah. Well, if you look historically, what's his name? Keenan Reynolds?
Yeah.
He barely ever threw.
Yeah, he was in the NFL for a little bit, but he was a wide receiver, running back kind of guy.
I mean,
he was good. He was in the he had Heisman votes for him.
Well, he
was good.
He ran that triple option probably better than anyone I've ever seen. And, it's been a couple years since Navy's been back up legit, and now the quarterback they have now is running it a lot better.
You know what? It's probably the coolest game of the year, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, my first pick'em game, I'm actually looking at the NBA, and tonight being Sunday, the Raptors are playing the 76ers. I'm leaning towards the Raptors on this one. I think it's our first NBA.
They've been playing good.
They have.
Mm-hmm.
Siakam's really coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Did you put together any pick'ems there,
No.
Mr. Hudson?
I'm just going to argue everything Kyle picks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
sounds about
legit.
right. Pretty much. That's like every time we're together.
By the way, you're never faster than me. Never.
We're not going.
Never.
This is great. I love it. Well, my second pick. I'm going back to the NFL. I've got the Rams going to Dallas, and I think Dallas is going to hang one on them. I'm picking Dallas for that one.
Fuck, I'm not even picking on those guys anymore. Like, they do nothing but let me down every single week. So I avoided that game. I'm going with my next pick. I'm going Packers and Bears, and I'm picking the Packers on that one. The Bears, that was probably the best I've seen the Bears all Thursday night against the Cowboys. But I question a little bit, how bad is this Cowboys defense?
Yeah. A lot of it for the Bears just really relies on their offense. Because, a lot of the games they've lost, their offense was leaving their defense in such crap field position all the time.
Yep.
And everybody's like, oh, Bears defense isn't as good. I think they're just as good. It's just they're on the field so dang much.
Yeah, they're fucking wore out.
Yeah.
Fucking wore out.
We'll see. I liked what I saw the other night.
Me too.
My next pick, I'm staying in the same division too. I think this is actually going to be a pretty good race down the stretch here between the Packers and Vikings, and I'm picking the Vikings over the Chargers.
I was looking at that game too, and I was going to go the same way.
What do you know? Jameis Winston has another multi-interception game today.
I think that's a norm. I think he starts the game out with two picks.
But the thing about him, though,
Niners.
He's a wow.
A little trickery. Holy shit! Who was that? Whoever that was has got a fucking arm.
Came back, took the lead.
Oh, man.
I like their running backs. They got some tough running backs.
What was it?
That fullback is a stud for him.
Juzik something. Yeah, Juzwiak.
And Breida's been out the last handful of games too.
Breida, I think, is gonna be a stud.
Yeah,
if he can stay healthy.
Well, my last pick'em game, I think I'm gonna throw an audible because the way they're playing today, I'm looking at the Texans at the Titans, and I'm switching my pick. I'm going Titans.
The Titans, since they made the change to Tannehill, have been playing some pretty damn good football. And Derrick Henry looking like maybe one of the best running backs in the NFL also here down the stretch.
Yeah, the resurgence of the Alabama running backs. We got him going off.
He's been solid all year.
You got Bo Scarborough now in Detroit.
He's been legit, man. Yeah, he really has.
And of course, Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
So the long lineage is still continuing into the NFL.
The rookie there for the Raiders from Bama. I mean, he's
Jacobs.
Tell you who's been solid all year is Leonard Fournette.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's been solid all year.
He has, and he's been very, very under the radar.
Yeah.
Just because the Jags.
He's catching 5 or 6 passes a game at least too. And he's tough. But once again, quarterback issue there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Minshew, he has done it. But I mean, they won't be good until they get a quarterback.
No, and everyone was so high on the Nick Foles signing, and
he got hurt.
Minshew pretty much Nick Foles.
Yep.
And
got some bad luck, man.
There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks in this draft this offseason. That could shake some things up.
Yeah.
And I mean, even looking at all the backup quarterbacks that have played this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Big Ben goes down week 1. They go to Mason Rudolph, who has flashes, but Mason Rudolph hasn't been the Mason Rudolph pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. So I
wouldn't be the same after
they go to what was the name? Devlin Hodges.
Yeah,
Duck Hodges.
Duck.
And he's been legit.
He's been all right.
He's been legit. So
Lions too.
Yeah.
They brought that kid in on Thanksgiving. That Blau, is it Blau?
Yeah.
From Purdue.
David Blau.
I thought he did a pretty darn good job.
Yeah, stepping in and actually, I was shocked.
Impressed with Driscoll too. I thought Driscoll.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Going back to the Steelers quarterback situation, did you guys hear the press conference when they switched from Rudolph to Duck Hodges? And they were talking to Tomlin, and they asked him, why are you going? Why are you switching away from Rudolph to Hodges? And Tomlin's answer was, because he hasn't killed us this year. Mason Rudolph is just getting beat up on this year.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's not getting hit by with his own helmet, his coach is fucking calling him out.
Talk about a guy that should definitely be in the running for Coach of the Year is Mike Tomlin.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. How in the hell is that team 7-5 right now?
Yeah, and you look at all the injuries that they've dealt with.
Yeah, James Conner hasn't been right all year.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you take Roethlisberger, who they've had for. Yeah. I mean, how many fucking years has Roethlisberger been playing quarterback for that team? And then you take him out week 1 or week 2 whenever they lost him, and
I think it was week 1.
Yeah, and you go. I mean, Conner hasn't been right all year. Schuster hasn't been right all year. I mean, so yeah, for them to be where they're at now.
And there were so many people after week 3 and 4 that wanted him out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just shut the fuck up. The dude is a badass coach. He knows what he's doing, and he obviously knows his team.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, for them to be, they're still in the playoff running.
Yep.
Yeah, they have a shot at hitting a wild card.
So Pittsburgh fans, calm the fuck down. Calm down. Tomlin's a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
And who's on top of that division?
Ravens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you should know by now, being a Steelers fan, that they don't change coaches on a fucking whim.
No.
Mm-hmm.
In my lifetime, they've had 3 coaches. And the first one I don't even remember.
And then you had Bill Cowher for a long time.
Years.
Yeah. So they don't make rash decisions like that, which I think is a testimonial to how great they've been because of that fact. Their coach isn't looking over their shoulder every fucking week to see if he's going to get canned or what's going on. So everyone just calm down. Calm down. All right, 2Ks, what is your paycheck game of the week?
Well, I told myself a few weeks ago when I went in the NFL to pick my paycheck game, and it burned me because I picked Saints over the Falcons. Yeah. And that I wasn't going to do it again. Well, now we don't really have anything to choose from, so I guess I'm going back to the NFL, and I'm taking probably the hottest team in the NFL right now, in the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens today, but I'm picking the Ravens over the Jets.
Bill's defense is legit, though. They have a very good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they said that they were top 3 in scoring, and
they're fast. Everybody on that field is fast. And a game like today, that's what you're going to need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Jackson's probably obviously the fastest quarterback.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how, especially when it comes to like scout teams and practice teams and stuff, how you can't replicate that.
You got to put a receiver in there.
Jackson's the closest thing that we've seen to Vic, and he's better than Vic.
I think so too.
I mean, he could throw the ball better than Vic.
And I
know that.
I think if I was paying enough attention, he needed 68 yards to pass Vic for the quarterback rushing for a season. So, in all likelihood, he'll probably get it today. And then there's a handful of games left, so he's going to set the bar pretty damn high.
Yeah.
And it might be one of those records that only he's the
able
only
to
one
break.
that's going to break it.
Mhm.
So, well, my paycheck game, I'm kind of throwing a wrench in here, and I'm looking at NCAA hoops on Wednesday night. The Michigan goes to Illinois, and I'm taking Michigan on that one.
Michigan's been impressive. I've been impressed with them.
Me too. I am. We kind of touched on it last week. I'm on the bandwagon for Juwan Howard.
Yeah, it's hard not to like him.
Yep.
It really is. You look at that. That's Louisville's a good team, and
Yes.
Louisville had their way with them, and they totally beat them down. But I look more at the 3-game stretch that Michigan had the week prior. 3 games against 3 legitimate opponents in 3 days.
Yep.
And then to bounce back 2 days later and play against Louisville, who was number 1 in the country for a reason, at their place.
Yep.
That's a pretty tough stretch. I think maybe they were a tired team. I'm not saying that Michigan's the better team there, because Louisville proved that they're the better team that night. But that would be an intriguing matchup to me to see those two teams play against each other again later in the season.
Tell you what,
Absolutely.
Big Ten basketball.
Yep.
I love Big Ten basketball.
And it's, to me, it's weird comparing basketball to football as far as which schools are good at
the thing
both.
with like the ACC's definitely has some schools, but it's top end heavy.
Yeah.
Where in Big Ten,
It's
you go down there and there's not really an easy team to play.
No.
Shoot, Iowa was good last year.
Yep.
Northwestern was tough last year.
Iowa played Michigan very well
Yeah.
on Friday night.
Yeah.
The kid, that
And dude
center
dropped like
for him
43
dropped
or some
44
shit.
points for
Yeah.
him.
Ohio State's freaking legit.
Mhm.
Michigan State's legit.
Maryland.
Yep. Maryland. Rutgers is probably.
Well,
I haven't really followed them at all this year, but Minnesota's always pretty solid.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure
Nebraska got the coach from the Bulls back.
Yeah.
Over
Uh,
the hell's his name?
I'm pretty sure we're responsible for most of our listeners remembering that Rutgers is in the Big Ten because we keep telling everyone that we just keep
Hoiberg.
forgetting.
Yeah.
Hoiberg.
Yep. And he was very legit at Iowa State
Mhm.
before he went to the Bulls. I mean, there's a reason why he made that jump from college to the pros.
Absolutely. Well, my onions game of the week, we kind of already touched on it, but I'm going a different way. Bears at Packers. Bear down. Taking my Bears.
This is a huge game for the Bears.
Yeah.
It's a huge game for them. I mean, it's a big game for the Packers too, because
I
the
was just
Vikings
gonna
are
say
right
that.
there.
If the Packers falter and
Where is that game at?
It is at Lambeau. So if they stub their toe and overlook the Bears, that could keep them out of the playoffs, or at least win the division.
yeah, I think they pretty much locked up a wild card no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it's obviously going to come down to them in Minnesota
For the division.
Mhm.
Yeah, and whichever one takes care of business is going to host a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Kirk Cousins has been, ever since they started bashing on him and he overpaid and stuff. He's been good.
Yeah,
I think he's even a little bit in the MVP talk.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's not going to win it because he got Lamar Jackson, but he's been good.
Yeah, for the last month and a half, and he hasn't had Thielen.
Well, he was
Thiel's been hurt the
he was
entire
the player. He was the player of the month for what? October
Mm-hmm.
or no November?
November. Yep.
And I think I'm drawing a blank now. The running back for that team.
Oh, Cook.
Yeah, I think him being healthy all year has helped amazingly.
Yep. Starting to use Rudolph in the pass game a little bit more too.
Yeah, which Rudolph's one of the most underrated.
Yeah.
Especially pass catching tight ends. The kid's a beast.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that just because he went to Notre Dame, but it's been proven. And the more you use him, the better that is, and especially playing this well without Thielen.
Yep.
Like we already talked about.
Well, they got that young tight end too. That's pretty solid. I think he might have came from Alabama too. I can't remember his name, but he's pretty good. But they kind of been using that guy in the slot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's been tough.
So yeah, it's definitely, especially that division. The Lions are the Lions.
Mhm.
I think that's the best way to describe it. Lions are the Lions. The Bears had going into the season great expectations of making a lot of noise in the playoffs, and there's a lot of people that picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Thought they were ridiculous, but
Who, Lions?
No, the Bears.
Oh.
Yeah,
well, there's a lot of Lions fans that do that every year, but they should know by now.
Stop.
Yeah, the thing with the Bears, Christian touched on it earlier when he was talking about how their defense their offense puts their defense in terrible situations all the time, and it's true. But like last year, they had so much success last year because they were turning teams over, and their defense was scoring points. I mean, they were pick sixes, picking up fumbles, and that hasn't happened as much this year. Which that's a normal year. I mean, what that defense did last year, you don't see that very often. You can't. And they kind of rode with that all the way into the postseason, and they lose, because of a missed field goal, and they want to. They were ready to crucify the kicker last season, and
double doink.
Their defensive line's been hurt quite a bit too, so that kind of neutralizes Khalil Mack a little bit because he's getting double teamed so much. Like Akeem Hicks, I don't know if he's back this week, this coming up week or not, but he was out for a while. Aaron Lynch was out for a while. Eddie Goldman, I think he was out for a little while, but
they had Bears had two guys go on IR back to back.
Oh, Roquan, I think Roquan's done for the season this year now.
Yeah. So when you lose names like that, it does make it easier to neutralize Mac because you're not really, no one else really scares you at that point. Well, 2Ks, what is your Onions game?
Onions game, I'm going with. We talked about Mike Tomlin earlier, and I mean the Steelers. They have a lot to play for right now. They are right there, still have a shot at getting into the playoffs, and they're going to be playing against Buffalo. Buffalo, I think we could probably write in as a wild card team already. Yep. But I'm picking the Steelers over the Bills. The Steelers they've been figuring out ways to win close ball games. I don't think that the Bills' offense is going to be able to run away from them. So if it's a close ball game, I'm
Steelers'
giving
defense has been. That's the reason why they've won this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That Minka Fitzpatrick trade, I think, is coming.
Oh man! And then you look at T.J. Watt. I mean, what is he like? Second or third on sacks right now. So, and even Devin Bush, the rookie. I mean, you can make an argument there that he might be the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, and that's a player we've since he got drafted there. You and I were keeping an eye on him. Not just because he went to school at Michigan, just because of the role that he's filling there.
Yeah,
and it took him some time to get his feet wet and get everything where it needs to be. But you can see the progression through week in and week out. That this kid could end up being probably better than Ryan Shazier, and Shazier was the linchpin of that defense that held them together. So, and I'm sure it's a lot to throw that kind of responsibility on especially a rookie, and you can tell once that defense gelled with the addition of Fitzpatrick, like I said, and Joe Hayden's on the other side. Fuck around, are you kidding me? No, and so they've more than held up their end of the bargain, and especially winning with second and third string quarterbacks.
Yeah,
that says a lot. Well, is there anything else that we need to address here, gentlemen? We were kind of talking about it earlier, and I don't think it was any shock to anyone when the top four came out for the college football playoff. Yeah, the only kind of question that you could say or anything you could really debate is did Ohio State get the shaft by moving down to 2?
I don't think so.
No.
I really don't think so. What LSU did, I really don't think LSU should have been jumped in the first place by Ohio State. And so no, I think they got it right. Probably for the first time.
I think so too. Where everything
now if you're Ohio State, in my opinion, I would much rather face an Oklahoma team than a Clemson team right now.
Too.
Absolutely.
Clemson is on fucking fire.
Absolutely.
You know what? That's another thing. Like, you really haven't seen a whole lot of Clemson because, they're winning 56-10 every weekend, something like that. So you don't know exactly what you're going to see out of them.
Yeah, that's
Oklahoma. You know what you're going to get: no defense and a lot of offense.
Yeah. Well, let's watch Joe Burrow put up like 700 points.
That's my next question. Did Burrow win the Heisman last night?
Yes,
I think so.
Yeah,
I thought he won it before that, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that last night, all the games that was kind of going to be the deciding can Dobbins make the jump over Burrow? Can Fields make the jump over Burrow? Both of them had good games last night.
Yeah.
The problem is Burrow just fucking went off against Georgia and pretty much ended that game before halftime, and still ended up with 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards. To me, he was the front runner going into yesterday, and he did not do anything to lose that. No. He probably had the best performance of all of them.
Yeah,
he's the Heisman easy.
Yeah, in my eyes, you could have given him the Heisman 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he like you said, he's done nothing but improve those credentials. There's always that quote unquote Heisman moment, and I think last night's game was just the icing on the cake. So, but yeah, that was my only takeaway, because you kind of knew who the top 4 were going to be, and this year there wasn't the whole, well, do we have to factor in that so and so didn't win their conference game or conference title game? Because all 4 of them did. And, it started out where, everyone was kind of picking Utah to get that 4 spot. They lose to Oregon. What was that, Friday or Thursday? So that kind of kicked off quite an interesting weekend. But everything else kind of, aside from Ohio State digging themselves a big-ass hole, and then scoring, what was it, like 27 unanswered points or some shit. So, yeah, that might be the changing point for them. That's the first time they've been down like that. So to actually do it against a quality opponent could pay a lot of dividends. Now, I think we're gonna have, at least myself, I'm not giving any predictions on 1v4, 2v3 quite yet, because it's going to be some tough choices. They have 4 very good, deserving teams, and I think for once, and probably since they've been doing this, there's a top 4 that you really can't argue about.
Yeah.
The only thing you can argue, like I said, is who's 1, who's 2.
Yeah.
But I think Ed Ogeron had probably the best quote of the weekend. He's like, I don't care where we play, just tell us where we're going. And with something like that, I mean, that's long and short of it, we knew the 4 teams, just who's going to be 1, who's going to be 2. And with something like that, I would just think that just getting in and not really giving a shit.
Yeah, to me, when you're only dealing with 4 teams, where you see them doesn't really matter to me. I don't think it really plays any effect. Like we talked about with Clemson, they're probably the last team I want to play against right now.
Yes.
I mean, Ohio State. If I'm Ohio State, I'm happy that we moved down. So I don't know. I'm not ready to make those picks yet either, because I got to do. I've watched a lot of Ohio State, but I haven't really watched a whole lot of Clemson this year because they don't play against anybody that I really want to watch.
I've watched highlights. I've not watched a single game.
And LSU, I have seen quite a, because they've played some big games that I watched, and then Oklahoma, I question a little bit who they played this year. Their strength of schedule.
Yeah, and so it's going to be a barn burner. I think we're in store for 3 amazing games, and before anyone actually kind of goes off on it, the rest of the top 25 aren't. They're being released in 5 minutes, so that's why we're not commenting or anything on that. We'll get to those next week, so we have plenty of time, because usually a couple weeks there where there's no college football, getting ready for bowls. So us.
Another knock that I have on Oklahoma a little bit too is, that was a pretty close ball game yesterday. It could have went either way, and I think at the end of the game, Baylor's on their 3rd string quarterback. Yeah. If they're not dealing with injuries in that game and are able to stick with the same quarterback, we might be looking at a different outcome. I'm sure for the committee, after the games were over with last night, they were probably happy, because I don't think you could get it wrong. No. To where if you would have seen Baylor beat Oklahoma, then what do you do? Or if Georgia was able to pull it off against LSU, then what happens? Yep. That's where things could have got a little bit dicey last night, and we would have been hearing the same argument we hear every year. It needs to go to an 18 playoff. It needs to go 16, to where everything happened perfect for it. So the pieces just kind of fell into place.
I'm still a huge proponent of the 8 team, but that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there.
Honestly, I would probably vote for the 16. Just why not? I want to watch more football.
What's D2 do? I think it is 16.
16.
Yeah, D2 and D3 both.
And then and have like your once you get to the so-called Elite Eight, that would be your bowl games, your Rose Bowl, your so on. I can't even remember all. They got so many bowl names now. I don't
San Diego
remember
County
them all.
Poinsettia
Yeah.
Bowl.
A lot of them changed names though too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 2K Crew, we'll get you our picks on all the bowl games. Don't you worry, don't you fret. We're not gonna let you down. Well, we're at that hour mark, gentlemen. Anything else we need to? Any unfinished business?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, 2K Crew, have a great week. Kick some ass. Get that Christmas shopping done. It's almost time. Just figured I'd give you a reminder, because I know dudes are horrible about that shit, and so am I. So my friendly reminder to you. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.